Hey everyone, it's Trader Rob. Today is another one of those high impact news days. Traditionally, I don't fare very well on these type of days. Let's see how I can navigate throughout this day. All right, as always, nothing that I state on this channel is financial advice. Trading futures or any type of trading is risky business. Any capital that you put out there is at risk. All right, so what do we have today? Well, we have PMI coming out this morning. We had a high impact news at 8:45 and at 9 a.m. Statistically, I don't trade very well on these days. I, I I tend to, not that I tend to overtrade. I tend to sometimes overanalyze the market, and I'll stay out of trades. I'll stay in trades, and it's just not part of my. It's not part of my strategy. I like taking my setups. With that being said, let's take a look at the charts. I am in an oil trade right now. Let me just throw on. I'm in an oil trade and a Ninja Trader, but let me throw on here. This is in TradeStation. Just makes it much easier to look at. All right, so our first session oil trade was a loss. Didn't like it. It was leading into news at 8:45, and just wasn't. I don't know. This thing was just in a consolidation range here, and didn't like the trade so much. Obviously, I'm still going to take it, um, just because that's part of my strategy. And then we were able to get into a second session oil trade here off of this inside candle. Obviously, a limit order for short at the bottom. I have now added a one tick offset, so that is something that I have added to my strategy in gold and in oil. So I am taking a one tick offset to help minimize situations like yesterday where we got into a trade by a tick on an equal high and got knocked out of that trade. So I'll monitor this trade. Right now we're in a little bit of profit, but we'll see. Oil's been kind of nasty today. So let me put this guy back, and then let me see if I can get gold out here. Give me one sec. Here's gold. Gold had a beautiful trade this morning. Got an inside bar at 8:15. Put this right there so you guys can see it. 16 ticks of stop, 16 ticks of take profit. We hit this take profit pretty quickly. I think it took about maybe eight or 9 minutes to get through that trade. So 1-to-1, still a little down just because that oil trade, the first oil trade was 31 ticks, so that was a pretty big, a pretty big trade. So currently, think I'm down about $85, or I think it was 100 and something bucks. But we'll see. Hopefully second session of oil can come through and help us out here a little bit. Let me open up where we are at with the challenge on the bot. So yesterday I was kind of debating as to what I should do as far as my positioning size. Let me open up where we're at first. Give me one second. Should come up right here. All right, so I was thinking, what can I do? Should I go down to the 5 micro idea that I was thinking about, just to kind of, just for capital preservation. But I think I said I'm going to let myself trade out the end of this week with the one mini strategy on these two, um, on these on these two instruments that I've got, and see how things kind of play out. So I'm about $500 down on the challenge right now. Do definitely feel like I can get some of that back. Let's take a look at oil. I've been looking at oil all day. I mean, this is just kind of an ugly price action here. So we'll see how oil works with us. One thing that I was going to add, as far as the bot, I am, especially on oil, I am going to reduce the. This is not good for my oil trade there. That pump up. We might get knocked out of our second session oil trade here. So I am thinking about retooling some of the targets, especially on the 5-minute red line and the 5-minute gold line in oil. I feel like they're just way too aggressive. I know that I can manually now, kind of adjust them, but I don't even feel like the need of having such huge stops like that. Or I should say, take profits. I think they're very aggressive. Great when they hit it, but I like to play my odds just a little bit better. So, well, we're still in this oil trade here. It seems like it's just been a fight with oil for the last couple of days. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. I needed to kind of take a little bit of a flush here down and come back down to this, break this pivot here to hopefully get me out of my oil trade with a positive. But either way, let's see. So like I said, I'm down on the day. Depending on how this oil trade goes, I did not take my 835 NQ trade just because we had news that was coming out, and it was right around that the market open, and just don't like trading that. So I will open up the 15-minute Rob NQ Rob reversal. That thing's been cranking. So I think I mentioned to you guys that I started another Top Step account. So that thing is up really well with that. Just trading that that strategy. So I think there's 2 trades in there and probably $1,500 in there. So that that strategy has been doing great, and I'm going to activate that here. I'll be starting looking for trades pretty soon on that for sure. All right, let's see what trades I can take here on the bot, and how my strategies fare out at the end of the day. All right, and here you can see I am priming myself up for an overnight open trade. I'm waiting here for price action to pierce through the overnight open, and then I'm just looking to, on that first green candle that I get, I want to get into this trade. And right there, I'm in. Again, I'm pretty confident on this trade here. You could just see this huge dump that we had in the NQ, and then it just stopped like on a dime right at that overnight open. I'm into some pretty good profit here, so at this point, I take my stop loss and I put it right above, so I know that even if I get taken out here, I cover, I think, at least commissions. But my feeling here is that if it goes through my stop loss, this thing might just go right through the overnight open, and I'm going to get knocked out of this trade anyway, so I didn't want to risk any capital. And I moved also my take profit to an area where I really felt that price action would want to tap into. So risk to reward was maybe 1 to 1.5 or 1 to 1.25. Wasn't anything special, but this trade was very special. Boom. All right, and there you have it. Took one trade today, and that overnight open trade, man, is that thing just kicking some ass or what? And that thing just stares at you right at the chart. I mean, look at this trade here. This was just like a waterfall. This is on the NQ at around 10, I don't know, between 10 o'clock and 10:30. This thing was a waterfall straight down. And what's the only thing here that breaks the fall? The overnight open. I mean, this thing is just, it's powerful. It is very powerful. I saw it. I mean, I thought I got in. So here's my thinking behind getting in on this one, or I should say what my entry was like. So I waited for for price action to pierce, okay, because it did tap into a pivot point that was over here. But I said, you know what? I'm going to let it pierce into the overnight open, and I want to see the next candle start green or have green in the candle above the overnight open, meaning that there's buyers that are coming into the market defending the overnight open and pushing price action up. And it's exactly what they did. I mean, it was exactly what it did. And I got in. I think I got in at a pretty good price. And what I did was I set my take profit right here because I saw that this is where this candle closed. This candle formed. And I just kind of felt like this is an area where price action was going to want to go. And look at it. I mean, look how many times this thing bounced off of right at that price, right where I put my stop. So I took full stop on, I'm sorry, full take profit on that. And then this thing just shot right through my take profit, which I was super excited about. Yeah, granted, there was probably, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 points that I left there. But again, for me, this would have been a difficult area to kind of like say, well, I think price action is going to go here. I like, in this scenario, I like finding areas of just the least resistance with still a pretty decent risk to reward. And if you guys, obviously, when you were watching that trade, I mean, that was my thinking. I went to break even plus maybe a half a point or a point just to cover commissions, and I knew, I'm like, listen, if this thing reverses, I don't want to be in this trade because at that point it might just blow right through that overnight open. If it's going to go up, it's going up. That was my thinking, and worked to perfection. That was a great trade. So. Let's see here, performance. We took a profit today in this account of $265.82 with that one trade that we took. So that was awesome. Let me bring up our balance on the $5,000 account. Let's open this one up. There we go. So we now stand, again, profit today was $265.82. Accounts back to $4,726. So we're fighting back. We're fighting back, and we still got half of our time left on this challenge to get us some profit. So let's take a quick look through my strategies this morning. I think I left you guys in the beginning of the video in oil in our second session. I was kind of telling you I really needed oil to come through. As you guys know, I took a loss in session 1, and again, this was going into news at 8:45, and I think we were somewhere right around here, around 8:35. This thing was like bouncing. It was getting close to break even. Actually, no, I'm sorry, right here, 8:40. This thing got really close to break even. And, in my Discord, I made a comment. I said, listen, guys, at this point, we're 5 minutes to news. News is going to have a spike one way or the other. This is a gamble. I mean, it's literally a 50-50 gamble at this point as to which way that this is going to spike. So I know some people, bailed from the trade. I stayed in there. I did take my full loss on that trade. So, it was a loser. But as I said, then I got into session two, and think we took some drawdown. I mean, we were in the red for, I don't know, a good amount of time. And then look at this one. Look at this candle. I mean, this thing went a tick away from knocking me out of this trade. One tick. And then reversed all the way back down for a full take profit of 32 ticks, 320 bucks. So oil came through. That's why I got two sessions. I love these two sessions. Sometimes you only get one trade in two of those sessions. Sometimes you get two. But it's like I said, if you've got a strategy with a slight edge, that's all you're looking for, and you want to take that trade as many times as it makes sense. And then I will also, just to recap my gold trade, which I showed you guys in the morning. That was an easy setup and full take profit on that one. 16 ticks, so 160 bucks there. So overall, green on the day, green on the bot, green on the challenge. Did not take my 835 NQ. I just figured I did not like the set, and I honestly don't know if I would have won or not. I have to go back and look at the charts. But I just didn't like. I didn't like where I didn't like with news, that release. I sat that out, and then on my Rob reversal, we got a long setup at 8:30 that almost played in, almost closed above the ADMA, but it did not. So we did not take this trade, but this would have been a beautiful trade. I don't know. Let me even see. I just got to see for my own self to see what we're talking about here. 160 points. 160 points. Granted, wasn't a setup, so I wasn't in that trade. And I think the only way you can get even close to that is if you were to trail your, just do a trailing stop on the candles. Because, I mean, there you're going boom, 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 boom. You're getting knocked out right around here for probably 130 points. The other setup we got here was at 9:30 in the morning. We got a short. Again, closed above the ADMA, no good. Gets us out of a bad trade. We get another one at noon to go long. Closes underneath the ADMA, so we're not in that trade, which is awesome because, well, it probably, I don't know, probably would have worked all the way up until the market, closed. But this thing, not a setup, and you can just tell this is all kind of just chop after that. We got a short setup, but again, no, what happened here? 12:15. So this does look like it would have taken a loss here. No, I'm sorry. You don't get activated into this trade because, yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, it kind of even fooled me. I'm like, what's going on here? So your entry is right here, one tick below here. So it would have had to pierce there. And so that, again, gets you out of another bad trade, gets you out of a bad trade. The setup works, man. I don't know what it is, but finds a way of filtering out a lot of bad trades. Got me a little nervous there because I'm like, oh, wait, why did we get in here? I don't remember this trade, but obviously we never got into this one, so that's why. So all in all, profitable day. I'm in the green. I told people in Discord, it's here's a thought. Here's a thought. Let's say you've got 3 setups, okay? If you follow my channel And if you're trading my strategies, there's three. And out of those three setups, you're probably going to be looking at a maximum of 4 trades in a day. And it's very rare that that happens. I don't want to say very rare because well, no, it didn't even happen yesterday. But the likelihood is you're probably going to be taking 3 trades in a day. So let's start with gold and first session of oil. One of those appears, hits full take profit. You're done. Walk away. You're in the green. Walk away. Let's say you lose the first trade. Then you take a look and see for setup number 2 and see if that trade is a winner. Maybe it brings you to break even. Maybe it brings you to 2 losses in a row. You cut it for the day. Or you cut it if you're trying to get a top step or you're trying to pass top step, you take 1 trade per day. Good or bad, 1 trade per day. And if you break even on that second trade, maybe you look for oil in session 2 to try to get positive again. It's not over trading. It's trading with an edge and wanting to take those setups that have that edge. Now, what you do personally on capital preservation and performance of your trading per day, you have to make that decision. You have to make the decision as to what your goal is. Is it to pass a top step account? Is it to get funded? Is it to be green in your account? Is it to add to your cash balance in your account? A lot of traders are in different stages. So you got to assess to where you're at and what you think it's going to take you to get to that next level. I had fun today trading. I had a lot of fun with this overnight open. This thing is super powerful. I'm just counting down the days until we get this added to the bot where I think it's going to make trading this so much easier. I really do. Well, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Happy trading, everyone.